And we're live. What's happening, folks? We are the others of NoDQ.com, bringing you the week in review. I am the Cleaver Colin Andrew, being joined today by the new norm, Jerry Slaughter. Jerry, how's it going today?
It's going superb. I actually have the day off. I'm still dressed for work, but I have the day off.
Hey, I got the day off too. And we have the simple man, Noah Foster, the best dressed man in the NoDQ galaxy. How we doing, sir?
Doing very well, gentlemen. I hope you all have had a fine Sunday so far. And I must say, this is a nice, pleasant Sunday afternoon surprise for me. I look forward to talking wrestling with you.
All right. I'm glad to hear, Noah. And we have Mr. Josh Mansfield showing up with us today. Josh, how's it going, my friend?
Going pretty good. Looking forward to, the little show Fastlane coming up here next Sunday. And then shortly after that, we're going to be having a busy WrestleMania week. So, holy crap, we're going to need sleep before all that.
And after.
Yes. And a lot of snacks in between, folks. But we're going to start today's panel off with a serious question, and that is, what can NXT do to bring back viewers? We know that NXT has been taking a hit as of late. The product has, and this sucks coming from me and having Jerry on this and Noah, because we spent so much time reviewing NXT and dealing with NXT, the stuff people didn't want to talk about, but here we are again. And especially since Dynamite, or I should say AEW Sparkler, came on the scene Wednesday nights, it's taken a real hit. And especially with no fans this last year, We'll start off with Josh on this one. We'll get some fresh takes. What do you think that NXT can do to bring back views?
Well, first off, out of all the four main wrestling shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, I don't count Impact for anything really, if I'm being honest. I personally prefer NXT above the others. Maybe SmackDown sort of gets there. I'm not an AEW guy. I tried watching Dynamite. I couldn't get into it. NXT for me has just... NXT, in my opinion, is the best out of the four. Making it better, I think the thing you gotta do, and this is going to be even harder now, since Triple H got another little demotion, is you gotta try and keep Vince from messing with it. Triple H has said before, when it comes to NXT, even though he's the producer, creator of NXT, Triple H has said Vince still has the final say in some things, and I think that might hurt some of the things in the long run. I do think once NXT gets fans back, I think NXT's fortunes will change a bit, because AEW's already had fans back for a bit. I'll be honest, when I saw the ratings results of NXT and Dynamite from this past week, I was surprised, because I thought after the dud of an end for Revolution and people not really being surprised or caring too much about Christian being back, we'll get to that later, and with NXT having two big title matches that I thought should have been the ones for TakeOver, I thought NXT would have won in the ratings war this past Wednesday. Granted, from what I've heard, the move to Tuesday may not be so much finalized as we had heard before. So we'll see what that means for NXT. If I said this before in an article I wrote, my first article for NoDQ, I said if NXT is to succeed, Vince has to want it to succeed. Vince, in my opinion right now, just is having it there as a placeholder to just try and block AEW from going any higher. For NXT to succeed and get better, I think Vince needs to take the chains off and let Triple H do his thing. Granted, Triple H isn't really too much in Vince's good graces right now because Vince just put yes man Laurinaitis back in charge of talent relations. So there's that whole debacle.
People power.
People power.
No people power. No. So I honestly think that's what it is. I think the stars NXT has are great. I mean, I'm looking forward to some of the newer people that WWE just signed coming up to NXT. Maybe get a couple people from the main roster to come down to NXT, maybe, but I don't think it's needed. I think NXT is a stacked roster right now. I just think Vince just needs to take the chains off and just let Triple H do his thing.
Colin, you are muted. Botch.
I can agree with you on that, but here's like my take on it. How much talent can you pull from NXT and not replace with? Because I feel, in my opinion, that's what's been happening. Especially when happens when people get taken from NXT and then just get shit on the main roster. I don't understand why those people can't go back to NXT, because I'm tired of seeing the same Adam Cole, the same four people: Gargano, Ciampa, Cole, and then insert the fourth person, whoever is the rotator of the month, who hasn't got injured of the month. That's what I feel like the main event scene's been anymore. The Undisputed Era was amazing when it was in its course, and now what they're doing with it's a different thing, which is great. This could bring some viewership back. Moving to Tuesdays would be a great thing for NXT. I don't know. I don't understand why Vince has to have it there as a cock block for AEW. I really don't understand it. Who cares if they hit 1 million? Guess what? You might free up how much viewership if you move it to Tuesdays, because guess what? Those 600,000 to 800,000 people are not flipping back and forth. Cool. Tuesday night, they're going to watch your show. Wednesday night, they're going to watch the show they want to watch. I would probably give AEW more of a chance if I didn't have to have it, like redheaded stepchild put to the side because I have priorities over it. Granted, the pay-per-view I watched the other day, I'm not going to touch that again. But AEW being on Wednesday nights can benefit NXT being on Tuesday nights. They're not helping each other being on the same night, and I think that would be a big thing too. They need to get some really good storylines going anymore, because I feel like as soon as they get something good going, something happens and they change it. The crowd thing, I don't know why they haven't been able to add a few more people into the crowd, except for right there, mainly by the entrance for the effect. AEW Sparkler's been doing it like we discussed. I don't understand why they can't do it just a little bit better. It's WWE. They should be the best of everything, right? But honestly,
I will say putting NXT on Tuesdays, people aren't going to switch back and forth from Impact to NXT. Those people who are watching Impact, who also would watch NXT or Dynamite, they're not going to be watching Impact. They're going to go watch NXT. I think that'll detract more from Impact, honestly. Like, that won't even be close to a war on Tuesdays.
I don't know. It can go either way, but they really need to shake something up over there. I feel that with travel restrictions being lifted in certain spots, I feel that they need to mash up with the UK guys a little bit. Just bring something intriguing, super, super intriguing. We have a few good storylines going right now. We have the Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, I guess you can throw Roddy Strong into that as well. Circle going on. But again, what else do we really have that's going to play out long term in NXT right now? Mr. Foster, I can see you turning over there. So let's hear your take on what you think NXT can do.
All right, so let's just stick to the topic here because I know we've been bouncing over the place with war ratings and different companies. The bottom line is this. If NXT wants to bring back more viewers, it needs to bring in a main event draw that is long-term, that has that big, eventful, avengeful type impact, must-see type showcasing back in the wild days when Triple H was fully in charge. Like you said, first things first, Vince McMahon needs to get his hands off the black and gold and quit trying to turn into the redheaded stepchild of Raw and SmackDown because that's one of the biggest flaws. Case in point, the women tag team titles, a complete debacle just of a ratings ploy where eventually all they did was just create titles exclusive for NXT. Once again, NXT not being looked at as an equal among the two brands, yet Vince wants to try and make it that equal, but on the lowest totem pole. If they want to bring more viewership back to NXT, the way I see it, you need to let it organically grow and stand out from Raw and SmackDown. People watch Raw and SmackDown, and a lot of stuff has turned them off with the repetitiveness, with the lazy booking, with the poor match quality, with the championship showcasing, Asuka Exhibit A, women's division. So if you really want to bring NXT viewership back to the forefront, you need to bring back that passion, that excitement, that attitude, not just from the feel of the set, but from the overall presentation of the product. And as far as I'm concerned, moving it to another day might help draw in more viewers, but necessarily it's not going to draw in more overall appeal. You might get a small bump in viewership, and I still think ratings is a complete botch. Just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. But if NXT wants to try and draw more eyes to its product, it needs to do something to make it stand out among everything else in WWE like it used to before the network era occurred.
Okay. I agree with you there. Yes, I agree. They've kind of lost a little of their edge there, Mr. Foster. So, new norm. Norman, you're next.
Hey, so far the new normal's actually doing pretty good in NoDQ, like the predictions league. I'm not on dead last at this point, so
You're not.
we're rolling with this right now.
You better knock on some fucking wood.
In my opinion, NXT actually has been suffering for quite some time anyway, since we had two major talent pool drainings in a span of that year. To the point where we lost Aleister Black, we lost Ricochet, we almost lost Gargano and Ciampa, but then Ciampa got injured, and that was kind of a blessing in disguise at this point. But what I think they need to do in order to re-get people into it is actually bring back some of these guys that went away that are just sitting back in catering, or nothing's being done with them in WWE.
Andrade.
I can honestly say, since Finn Balor came back, yes, I love his character and everything, but I haven't given a damn about his title reign at all. His match with Kyle O'Reilly, that was awesome, but at the same time, all that was just a precursor for the breakup of the Undisputed Era. That's all that was. It was just more of a setup for that. Nobody really believed that Kyle O'Reilly was going to take the belt off of Finn Balor. Now, the Karrion Kross thing, it looks cool and all, but it could be better. In my warped little brain here, I'm thinking, okay, have Finn Balor, or Karrion Kross challenge Finn Balor, but then William Regal comes down and says, okay, we'll make this match, but we're going to make it a triple threat one, because I recently brought back a former NXT champion, and we're going to put him in the match too, and put Aleister Black in the match. Make it a triple threat match between Balor, Aleister Black, and Karrion Kross. The entrances alone will be awesome for that match. And then you have all three different styles in there. That'd be just a beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. But then you have Ricochet, who's not being used at all. He can be thrown back into mix and put over a whole bunch of people. I'd love to see him in a few with Cameron Grimes, because Cameron Grimes doesn't put on a bad match at all. And if he wants to go to the moon, beating Ricochet would actually something that would actually put him over more than anything else. But Okay, with that, yeah, the talent area right there, that's where the problem is, because you have all these people that are just brand new, nobody's really established at all, and the ones that are established, they don't really have anything to work with at all. So if they brought back those guys right now, that would help out a little bit. Commentary, that's the other thing that's bugging me at this point.
Here we go.
Because since we lost Mauro Ranallo was the voice of NXT. You can't really replace Mauro Ranallo. But I think if they were to bring in anybody else that could possibly replace Mauro Ranallo in excitement and the ability to actually convey, make the matches seem more important, it'd be Joey Styles. But seemingly right now he's signed with somebody else because Paul Heyman made an announcement on Heyman Hustle saying that he's going to be commentating for someplace else, which I'm thinking it'll probably end up being AEW. And that would just be weird. Because then you'd have like the three main commentators from like those Monday Night Wars all in that same company. You'd have Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Joey Styles all under one roof. The idea of Joey Styles and Wade Barrett being a commentary team, get rid of Beth Phoenix. Just get her away.
Thank you. I hate her on commentary.
Time out. Beth Phoenix,
I disagree.
I'm energy, and she respects the women. She brings the most output to the women's division, and actually does try to bring some stuff to their matches too. I thought she's been very good, and this was before Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett ever got involved. If anyone should stay, it is Beth Phoenix. But I do understand what you're saying. They also miss that energy, that voice. Again, it was Maranello that drove the fans to be like, I love this. I want to see how this goes. I can imagine the fans were trying to be Maranello themselves, me included. So I get what you're saying there. But Beth Phoenix, get off her back because she actually does a pretty darn good job.
110% agreed there. I think that
trigger.
I think I found a trigger for Noah. It used to be calling a pre-show. Now it's dissing Beth Phoenix.
Hey, we'll see what else she's saying. That makes me all really go off. But all this was just standing up for Beth Phoenix, who I think does a great job. And Vic Joseph, he's not Maranello, but I'll give the guy credit. At least he's come a long way from saying, take down.
Yeah.
On 205.
I'll give Beth Phoenix credit. She's gotten better, but at the same time, she's been doing it for so long at this point. She's just not growing on me. I guess that's the case. But
and half the time, she's not even there.
I'm glad that they actually finally made a women's tag title for NXT. Like that was actually a pretty cool move on their part because their women's division is pretty stacked. They actually use them very, very well.
I mean, Grant, I didn't think that that Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez were going to beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I mean, I thought Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart should have won the Women's Dusty Classic anyways. But I don't think the NXT Women's Tag Titles were needed. I think if you would have just put the WWE Women's Tag Titles on NXT for a bit, that would have done the belts some good, I think.
It does make them a lot less special than when they started out.
Let's be honest, those women's tag team titles have not been special for a long time. And honestly, the last time I could consider them special was when Sasha and Bayley brought them down. We literally had a legitimate women's tag team title match that was contested, one fair and square in the middle of the ring. Too bad there was no follow-up to that. All they did here, it's like the Edge thing. They were trying to do a ratings bump. Again, it's Vince's fingers in the NXT product, bringing in Raw and SmackDown trial and trying to push viewership. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like those.
They did not announce Edge for much in advance. They would have announced Edge on like Monday before NXT was going to NXT. That would have done better for ratings. That's part of my thing is if Vince wants NXT to succeed, then he needs to actually promote NXT and not just put all these barriers in front of Triple H for him to hop over.
As long as Triple H has influence in NXT, he's never going to do that because he and Triple H will never be on the same mindset.
Oh no!
You see Triple H and Shawn Michaels' work like in the company, but then you also see like how they're being stifled at the same time. So yeah, I can see where you guys are coming from with that. But like, yeah, if they were given free reign on what to do because they know what the fans want, and they're going to give it to them. But at the same time, if like the corporate offices, in WWE say, well, we're going to take so-and-so, we're going to put them on Raw and SmackDown, just completely ruin the program at this point and not use them at all. It's,
I will say one final thing is that we've been going at this topic for about 20 minutes now. When it comes to NXT, for it to be better, the one thing I will say, there should not be a takeover during WrestleMania weekend. The NXT title and the NXT women's title should be defended at WrestleMania.
That is how you make them an equal, period. I absolutely agree. It's like I said, the fact that Rhea Ripley could not beat Charlotte Flair last year, it already hurt the NXT crowd right there. If Rhea Ripley went over Charlotte at WrestleMania, this would be a whole different story for NXT.
Well, we may see Rhea versus Charlotte at WrestleMania again this year, since Asuka looks like she's out for WrestleMania, potentially.
They're going to have to vacate the title and do something at this point. Women's tournament, I don't know, but they need to do something to bring some sort of value back to women's wrestling on Monday Night Raw.
Asuka's done great while Charlotte and Becky have been out. I give Asuka a lot of credit for basically carrying the Raw women's division alone, without Charlotte, without Becky. She had Bayley and Sasha for a little bit during when they were, the women's tag champions, and they were the female version of the two-man power trip over the summer.
Oh,
I give Asuka a lot of credit, honestly. But
these last 4 months, though, they've had nothing for her, to the point they brought Charlotte Flair in just so they'll be like, here you go, hold the title for a moment.
I mean, you ask me, and I think, unfortunately, Becky won't be back in time for WrestleMania from recent reports. Her or Goldberg are not wrestling at Mania. If it would have been going my way, I would have said Charlotte and Becky versus Nia and Shayna for the women's tag titles at WrestleMania. But we're not getting that, so.
If Shayna and Nia face anybody at WrestleMania, I'll be shocked.
Guys, we can talk about women's wrestling almost the entire show, but we need to go on to another subject.
Yeah, we do.
I have a feeling this is going to become a weekly thing. Let's move on to the next topic. I'm loving this so far.
All right. Well, what Jerry was bringing up earlier, the entrances and this, that, and the other, we're going to touch on another topic, and that is Jim Johnston hates the new WWE music. Do you? That is the question. I'll start this one real quick, just because I love music, and being a musician is so fun. And yes, I miss it. I miss Jim Johnston's music. Do I hate a lot of the new stuff? Absolutely. Def Rebel, he has a few good tracks, like Carrying Crosses is super good. It's really, really about it, honestly. Like, CFO, they were really good. They had a couple really good songs too, but a lot of it is just crap. Rollins' new music is dog shit. Cesaro's, they both sound the same. Bailey's, everything sounds the same. Jim Johnston, he was an old school composer.
He personalized everything for everyone.
Exactly.
The key word right there, Jerry. Sum this up in one word, folks. Personalization. When it comes to a wrestler's entrance, it sets the presence of who you are expecting to enter the ring. What sort of threat are they? What sort of style they may bring? What sort of energy they might exhibit? With all this CFOS that had a couple of good ones, but Def Rebel especially, Def Rebel is literally a guitar with screaming, and literally that repeats over and over for everybody. None of Def Rebel's music truly sticks out. At least some of CFOS's did. Bobby Roode, Glorious Domination. Keith Lee, Oh, Bask in My Glory, just name a couple. And more so when you look at these newer composers, you would think their music fits maybe more of the NXT town. And even some of the NXT music right now is crap. Jim Johnston, he literally looked at everybody's image and he personalized their music using tones and sounds from different instruments and objects, including 3 different ways to break glass for one, Stone Cold, that gave you that overall pop of excitement for something that's going to happen before the bell. And that was the person walking down the ramp. You don't feel that anymore. You just don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
It's just some type of loop thrown in with some samples over top of it. It's all generic. I feel most of them are ringtones. You know, let me just set my ringtone here.
According to Spotify.
You know, so it's gone downhill, and I don't know who's writing the music for AEW, but I feel
his name is Mikey Ruckus, and he's had a few good tracks, but a lot of his are more focused on guitar driven. I do like the fact he tried to encompass TNA and WCW Sting with Sting's theme. Again, he's done a few good ones, but I look forward to him working with the composers of NJPW and Impact as this continued idea of open wrestling through a Forbidden Door, still a ridiculous concept, continues to develop. But I'll give Mikey Ruckus credit. He's trying, and some of his actual entrances do set a precipice for the talent that comes out of those tunnels.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess this might be the new norm for wrestling themes because there's never going to be a Jim Johnston ever again. You know, and Jerry and I, you know, I'm not really sure how old you are, Josh, but Jerry and I are, you know, over that 30 hump and this, that, and the other, and we've been around that old school. I mean, I remember the first CD, or I think it was a cassette tape. It had like Diesel and Shawn Michaels and the Jeff Jarrett with My Baby Tonight on it. I remember buying it at Kmart, and you know, just there's never going to be anything like that because you look at other wrestling companies like TNA. They had a couple, you know, good theme songs.
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles had always.
Yep.
And Ring of Honor, everything was kind of like basic, you know, kind of basic a little bit. Some were okay, but yeah, you're never gonna hear it again. And I totally understand why he hates what we hear now because
right out, yeah, it sucks. Like the music. Here are the things I will say. There is a reason why Drew McIntyre every day on Twitter is asked, when is Broken Dreams coming back? Jeff Hardy, when is No More Words coming back? Like I remember Drew retweeted something the other day that the WWE Twitter account had said about Drew's Broken Dreams theme song, and Drew's like, I just have one day of not hearing about this song because everyone loved his Broken Dreams theme song. Now there is talk that they will bring that song back because everyone wants it back when they're fans. Same with Jeff Hardy's No More Words. Because they're realizing a bunch of these songs need to come back because a lot of the music they just sucks. Great, like Jeff using the generic Hardy Boys theme song of when they teamed together, that's not the same as Jeff's own No More Words when he won the WWE title for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I remember everyone saying when Drew won the title from Brock, it's like the Broken Dreams theme song. It's like it's right there. Use it. Like the words are just perfect for this. And same for this year's WrestleMania because it looks like it's going to be Drew versus Lashley for the title. Honestly, Vince just needs to swallow his pride and bring Jim Johnston back. Like Johnston even said, him and Vince are still friends. Just bring him back and let him do his thing. You'll notice the people who are still the stars, who still have that, are the people who still have Jim Johnston music. Like Cena, like Orton, etc., etc., etc.
Edge,
yeah. Like his music, the Shield music, which Reigns still uses.
Which he should get away from. Sorry, dude. Factions break up, lose the music. That'd be like Billy Gunn using the DX music. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I assure you, as I watch AEW, that is not the case.
Well, I'm just saying, or like, let's just say, luck of the draw, Bobby Fish gets the Undisputed Era's music. Like, honestly, you know, Adam Cole should get something new. new coming out of that. But I mean,
he might. I mean, we can only
but
hope.
still,
I imagine
like,
Kyle O'Reilly's going to get something new because Undisputed Era pretty much.
yeah, it's probably
that
gonna
era has
suck.
no-
That's probably gonna suck balls.
Adam Cole probably will get new music. I think Kyle O'Reilly will still use the Undisputed Era music. Because there might be another Undisputed Era. I don't know.
But we still have to figure out where Bobby Fish plays in all this when he returns. But the bottom line is this: music needs personality to convey a message of excitement and interest to the fans. Unless you literally just want people to Shazam a ringtone.
I mean, I'll bring this one thing up before we get final thoughts on this subject. Kevin Owens said it. He hated his theme music when he got to NXT. I thought it was a banger for something that CFOS did. I thought it was good. It's got good energy. It's got good energy to it. But he said he hated it. He drove around for hours and hours listening to it and could not get it, you know, and that has to suck as a performer to hate your theme music, because that is what is supposed to hype you up. That is supposed to, you know, that's part of your identity.
Exactly.
That is just as important as your tights. That is just as important as your moves. That is just as important as your mic work, in my opinion, is some kick-ass theme music. So that's my final thought.
Sometimes wrestlers don't need new theme music when they're given new theme music. Keith Lee, for example, when he came up to the main roster, his music was changed, and people were like, "What the heck is this crap?" Bobby Lashley, when he came back to WWE, his theme music was crap. The Hurt Business music now, okay, but he should have his old 2007
Dominator theme. Yeah.
Yes, that theme back. Like, holy crap, that's the theme that should be playing when he walks out to the ring for the WWE title match at WrestleMania. I mean, Dominic Mysterio's music is okay. It plays well off Ray's theme, which is kind of the point. Yeah, I don't know if it was the same band that did Ray's theme. If it was, I think good job.
It's not. Def Rebel did Ray's, and what was it? POD and Jim Johnston collaborated on Rey Mysterio's music.
There you go.
Yeah.
Booyaka!
619, and they performed it live at WrestleMania 22.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, General.
Well, I think if they're not going to have Jim Johnston back, they need to at least lock down the rights to these songs for these like stars that are up and coming. Like, basically, I think it showed lack of confidence from corporate right from the get-go when Keith Lee came out with new music. The second Keith Lee came out to a different theme and like on Raw, he became a sinking ship. He was already a sinking ship when he moved up there, but he got completely sunk when he got saddled with a stupid theme that nobody knew and couldn't associate with. Because he was so over in NXT with that theme, and then he just kind of stripped it away. I can understand if you're from a different company and the company owns rights to the music and they have to give you new stuff, that's understandable. But if you're under the same umbrella and you come up with this music that's like, you know, pretty awesome and sets your tone and everything, it's a beautiful thing. But some of this crap that they have now is just horrible. It's monotonous and it's forgettable is what it is. It all just like matches together.
It's almost like music is an afterthought, especially in the Thunderdome with all the other sound piped over it and the freaking piped in crowd noise too. It's almost like music shouldn't matter.
Yeah. Like there's some themes that are, you know, are awesome, like Shinsuke's. Shinsuke Nakamura's theme is going to be like timeless and Imperium. If they ever change Imperium's theme, I'll lose my shit.
Okay, well, first off, we kind of are changing the identity of Imperium because if you haven't noticed, Marcel Bartel and the other two that are not the Ligne Generale have a slightly altered version of Typhorax New World Symphony, while Walter still has the original piece.
Yeah, Def Rebel redid Symphony Number 9. So
correct.
Yes. So yeah, I was wondering why they had that, and then Walter was still with his regular one.
Because
I was wondering
Walter refuses to adapt, I think, to the new WWE system. Think about it. He said Chicago, mistake, never happening again. He is in NXT UK for a reason, because he'd rather stay home. And you really think they're going to try and re-customize Walter, and he's going to take that? NXT UK to me is the one brand that stands out the most in WWE because of the way they respect the wrestlers, their culture, and the way they showcase wrestling. That's why I look forward to NXT UK the most every week.
But yes,
I think the short answer, or a quick, not a quick fix, but at least a way to stop one of the symptoms of a bad music in WWE, get rid of the current music team. Like, no, just bye. Get rid of them. They suck.
time will tell, guys. And
indeed.
Yes, time will tell. But Jerry, this is your topic that I'm about to bring up. These were your topics you suggested we do for this video, and they're good ones, but I want you to start out with this next one. And it is there even a truly legit face wrestler out there anymore?
I'm about to say, I honestly don't think there is anymore. Everybody's like a tweener all of a sudden. And I think it's for the fact that, like, WWE and, like, we'll go with WWE first here. They have no idea what show they're putting on anymore until, like, about 5 or 10 minutes before they even start going live. Like, so, like, you can have, like, 4 different, like, heel face changes within that span of time. You can turn somebody to a complete big show for that show, and then you're leaving it at the end of the show like, wait a minute, am I supposed to like them or am I supposed to hate them? And even then, the heels are actually get more cheers and everything than the faces. Roman Reigns is hotter than he's been in, I think, ever. And like it took him going heel. Like we were begging for Cena to go heel for the longest time. He kind of dipped his toe in the water at one point, but then it just kind of went away. We were rooting for him to lose to Bray Wyatt. Are we supposed to be cheering for Bray Wyatt now? Obviously, we're supposed to be. Because now he's feuding with Randy Orton still, and Randy Orton's an asshole this week.
That's nothing new with Randy Orton.
It's that inconsistency now. Like, Ric Flair, for the longest time, when he was a heel, he was a heel for an extremely long time. And it took something, like, really crazy in order to make him into a face. And, like, with AEW recently, with the MJF started his own faction, which I love to pieces. But, like, he was able to turn the entire, like, inner circle into a group of faces, even though they were both the most heels you could actually get anywhere. Sammy Guevara is, like, one of the most naturally hateable people on the planet. And now they're going to make him into a face, which is, like, crazy. I got a whole other thing about him, which I think, from what I hear, he's supposed to go to Impact and go into some sort of X Division angle, like, while he was away from AEW, but he wouldn't do it. But I think he would have done awesome over there. But I think it's more about brand loyalty than anything. But to answer to my own question, I can't really think of, like, that face draw that we've needed for years upon years, that we don't really have that anymore. Drew is close, but at the same time, he's just not as universal as some of these other, like, guys we've had. John Cena, he was crammed down our throats, but he made money for a company. He played to a crowd like nobody else on God's green earth, and people still loved him, but he just had his detractors. But he was, like, I think, the last true face that we've actually had in WWE in quite a while.
Go ahead, Josh.
See, that's fair. I think there is another. I think they made a mistake turning him. His heel run was fantastic, But I think only in the past, like, 3-4 months since he's been face, since they returned him face in late 2019, I think Daniel Bryan is another one that's close to being the main, a true face. I mean, Grant, his heel run, again, it was a great heel run, and I think they dropped the ball when they turned him face again, like his Intercontinental title match with Sami Zayn at last year's WrestleMania really was a letdown in my opinion, and not as it should have been. Like, you're having Daniel Bryan lose to Sami Zayn. Like, I feel like his face turn didn't go as well as it should have, but now it's picking up steam again. It's for him to be a top main true baby face again. I originally was of the opinion that the Universal title match should have been Reigns versus Bryan, and Edge just should have feuded with McIntyre.
Well, then, I was about to say, I saw that, and you can see like heel tendencies coming out Edge at this point again too. It's exhausting.
And that, I wouldn't say I'm saying heel tendencies. I mean, you can have good face versus face promos and angles, like Cena versus Reigns, like that shoot promo that they did a few years ago when those two faced each other. I forget which pay-per-view it was, but that shoot promo that broke the fourth wall in a number of ways was a great promo between two faces. The promo between Daniel Bryan and Edge this past Friday, two great promos between two great faces. They're finally starting to work and make Bryan a good, believable top baby face again. I get he wanted to work to build up newer, younger talent, but that shouldn't be at the expense of Daniel Bryan and his character, in my opinion. But nowadays, I think he's the top face for SmackDown, apart from Edge, really.
All right.
I mean, for the longest time, it felt like Kevin Owens was trying to be that top baby face. That's why they had Kevin Owens versus Roman 4 times over a period of 3 months. But when you talk about this idealism in wrestling, where you feel like the philosophy and almost all the stories should be heel versus face, a lot of people nowadays, they do seem to go between, not just WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, even NJPW included. They are the personification of professional wrestling. Kota Ibushi might literally be the ultimate face there, but there's people that if he's up against a heel, they really would cheer based on the wrestling. But sticking to the WWE philosophy, which we're mostly focused on, I do get what you're saying when you think about true face. When I think about the true faces that not only really showcase I'm a great role model, top baby face for you, but also a top draw. Roman, Cena, Bryan, those have probably been your best last 3 of the last decade. If we're talking NXT-wise, I got to give it to Keith Lee with the run he had, like he was the North American champion. Now, of course, when he became the double champion, it kind of all fell apart a little bit. Then he moved up to the roster, and we saw what happened. But as far as if there's really a true face anymore in wrestling, I guess the closest thing you have as far as a champion goes, and maybe this is small potatoes because it's the company, I would say Rich Swann. Rich Swann's the only one that I can figure about his entire career that has never turned against his morals nor against the audience. And now he is the top guy in Impact Wrestling, and he's also the top babyface there too, planning to take on Omega at Rebellion, title for title. But to go off your philosophy about is there really a true face, a top-tier draw? Can anyone truly just stay face their entire career, it seems? Yeah, I agree with you. I would say no. There's nobody. Everybody here basically plays a part they feel like conveys the story, where so much you don't cheer for me, but you maybe believe in what I'm saying or what I'm selling. Because at the end of the day, as a wrestler trying to sell the match, the story, or themselves anymore, I mean, as long as they play a part in it, they're like, I'm just going to play whatever. I mean, again, right now, Daniel Bryan, he feels like the ultimate opportunist, heel-type mannerisms, trying to get that one last push. But the thing about him versus what Edge did, Daniel Bryan feels like this is his last chance. So he's going all or nothing.
My take on it is if there can't even be, I mean, look at Michael Cole. Look at Corey Graves. They're commentators. One's supposed to be, isn't the play field, you got one good cop, one bad cop on commentary. They flop back and forth every week, every segment. they're back and forth.
I mean,
So,
Corey Graves hated Bailey. Now he puts her over.
Yeah. So it starts there.
Right.
There's no true faces. There's no true heels anymore. There's no, I mean, look at The Fiend.
Oh.
The dude that was supposed to be Billy Badass. And now and then he protects Alexa Bliss. He shows up to protect her and hold her. And
well, now Bliss is trying to summon him from hell.
Exactly. And it makes no sense. There's no long-term shenanigans with, 1 week. Look at, what was it? Was it Randy Orton and Kevin Owens a while back? Just that not their feud exactly, but them as characters. 1 week they're a dick. 1 week they're the good guy. 1 week they're a dick. 1 week they're the good guy. Just flip-flop. I feel everything is just so crossed over anymore because there's no long-term booking by anybody. So it is just, oh, shit. How'd that recipe go? Oh, I don't remember. So I'm just going to add this to it this week and see what happens. All right. So sorry, guys. Last week it was teriyaki this week it's, flip-flops and, nacho cheese. Sorry, we're just going to flip it around and see what happens here.
And then we'll use government cheese after that because we're out of cheese.
And it drives me nuts because you never know what, 1 week you really like somebody, the next week you hate them because it's just.
I do want nachos now, though.
Yeah, I do too.
This is what happens when Vince comes in every Monday and Friday and rips up the entire script and starts it from scratch almost every single week.
And literally during the show sometimes too, not just prior to it.
Like, Vince, either get better writers or you step out of the way.
He ain't stepping out of the way until he's being
like wrestling.
Right? But you all know Vince ain't stepping away until literally he's being stuffed in a casket. Okay? And even then, he's going to figure some creepy ass way to get his hands on something.
Now he's just going to pass it off to Shane McMahon.
Actually, with how things, my coming up column, I touch on that exact thing, Noah. With
hey, I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the future of the WWE, the post-McMahon era, or Vince McMahon era, preferably?
But back on topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as far as the identity of a wrestler, are you a dick or are you somebody I support? It's almost like a non-factor anymore when it comes to a lot of today's wrestling. And maybe that's one of the reasons why WWE right now has such tank poor booking. Because, again, sports entertainment, that's what drove the company forward.
I think my last point on this will be WWE right now with the Thunderdome, how they have it, they can pipe in what noise they want.
Exactly.
So that way the audience at home will get the feeling of, oh, this is who WWE wants us to boo and cheer. Because I don't think they're going to pipe in the actual noise of the actual crowd's going to make unless they're making the noise WWE wants them to make.
Basically, they're the fans
back. When there are actual fans back in the arena, that is what will tell us who the faces will be, who the heels will be, based off of what the crowd will tell Vince.
That's right. It's the fans that drive the story. It's the fans that define the wrestler's character and direction. It's the fans that make the product. And it's the talent that hopes the fans will allow us to make the product. Again, right now, without anybody there, it's free range.
Free range chickens. Folks.
I had seen Parmesan earlier, ironically. But anyway, moving on.
Main event time, folks. Ding, ding.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Woo!
Hailing from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Christian Cage, folks. As we know from AEW Sparkolution, Christian Cage has signed with AEW. And what is going to be his long-term impact on the company, because we all know Christian back from 97, 98 when he first showed up with the Brood, moved on to be part of one of the best tag teams ever with Edge, go on to a singles career after in WWE and TNA, and then come back recently at the Royal Rumble and have his one more match. And then shocked the world when he signed with AEW. And we all know the mind that Jay, I'll call him by his real name because everybody else does when they say this. Jay has a mind like no other for the business, I guess. And what can he teach these young men and women that are coming in on Tony Khan's dime, that are still learning the business? What can he do to help out? Because you got to think, his best friend and best friend's wife are both employed by WWE right now. And, I really, really hope that Vince isn't that much of a douchebag to take it out on them, but time can tell. Where do you see Christian's, overall deal with AEW in and out of the ring? Noah Foster.
Well, let's see. This was an extremely interesting development because of all the names I could think of, I did not expect that, let alone the fact that I'm letting him come out to his TNA type theme. But
Which I love.
Yes, but I also like what you did there. Long-term impact. Again, with the idea of wrestling together. You honestly might not just see Christian AEW. You might see his influence in Impact Wrestling. As far as the long-term influence, let's think about the philosophy they're going for here with Christian. Outwork everyone. We're going to see this man and what he's going to offer in ring as far as showcasing and storytelling goes. And I feel like we're also going to see what he offers outside as far as a storytelling piece, because we know Christian can deliver a promo. We suddenly got an idea definitely what the end game, no pun intended, is going to be. Christian wants the AEW World Championship. Here you have two of the best all-round professional wrestlers from Canada, ironically, Kenny Omega and Christian, teasing this idea of a program. And there's one thing we know about AEW, they know how to do long-term storytelling. Exhibit A, MJF, Sean Spears, faction. With that being said, I look at what Christian is right now and what he suddenly did and has not spoken a word yet and has not even been booked yet for a match. You wonder if John Callis and Kenny Omega are going to capitalize on what Christian nearly did, hitting the prettier almost on Omega, or is Christian finally going to say, we saw you hold the AEW championship. I expect that's your end goal. What are your thoughts on the champ and what maybe is your idea? So in general contrast, because again, we literally just saw the man. It is too soon to say because of how AEW has a very loose ranking system, but also right now we have no idea what storyline is solely ahead for Omega, because chances are his next big defense will be at Double or Nothing, even though he's already got history waiting for him at Rebellion. He's already got an agenda. As far as Christian goes, it's too soon to say. We'll have to wait and see, but long-term plan, I clearly see him going after Omega. And I feel like he's going to try one more time to be that top champion. I feel that has to be the end goal.
General.
Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room that the WWE severely dropped the ball with Christian.
Oh, no, without that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because the way I would have seen it, he could have costed Edge like his championship match at some point, like before WrestleMania, and they could have had a career versus career match at WrestleMania. And that would have been superb. And then you could still have your Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan story to be the main event. But and since they already nullified anything special about Money in the Bank this year, why not fuck over the Royal Rumble winner? You know, who knows? But with Christian, I like the idea of possibly him versus Omega, but at the same time, even if that were to happen, I think A, Christian would lose, and B, like after that he won't do anything else. I think this whole thing is just going to flop, and then he's going to end up having to eat crow and go back to WWE, or just become a road agent for AEW, which is just about the same as retirement anymore. Wrestlers never really retire. They just become agents. They just they hang out backstage and tell people like how they can improve their craft and what to do.
Or they mentor somebody up and coming, case in point, Sting and Darby Allin. So like you said, Christian might take a mentorship role. Again, the thing about AEW, a lot of their roster is very underexperienced, not necessarily in wrestling, but definitely when it comes to a live TV platform.
Exactly.
And with Christian, how much he has already dealt with that, he will offer a lot to teach the young up-and-coming wrestlers of tomorrow, today, those sort of mechanics. So honestly, though, again, who knows? Christian, I mean, if the AEW World Championship is not necessarily his first sight, if he wants to outwork everyone, he might work his way up the ranks. We might see Christian contend eventually for the TNT title.
Right. I was just thinking, Omega versus Christian. Do I want to see it? Not really.
Not this soon.
No, exactly. But Darby Allin or someone along that line for the TNT title, yeah, I'd be interested in it. Again, I am over them bringing in stars that I watched when I was my son's age. Okay. I'm not a fan of that anymore. I'm over it.
Mm-hmm.
Develop new fucking people. Okay? It's really not that hard to do.
Well, they're finally trying. Britt Baker, Sammy Guevara,
They are,
Darby Allin.
but I'm
trying.
not mad. I'm not mad that Christian's there. I'm happy for him. Okay? He should have had a few more chances a while ago. And yes, WWE didn't drop the ball. They dug that bitch a hole, dropped it in, and buried it.
Yeah.
That's what they did with that. Missed opportunities. Could you imagine Edge and Christian tag teaming together going for a tag title?
That's what I was actually expecting to happen after the Royal Rumble.
Something like that. Like anything. Or shit, instead of Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns right now, we can get Edge and Christian versus Roman and Jay at Fastlane. There's 100 different things they could have done. They could have had Roman beat Christian to a bloody pulp to further this Reigns deal. But no, we're just going to let him sign with another company. That's fine. That's cool. We already lost Show. We already lost, Jericho's over there. God damn it. And pretty much the entire Four Horsemen is over there.
And John Moxley.
Except for Flair. The entire Four Horsemen is over there. And they're running with that. But Christian, to me, his overall impact is more going to be on the ambassador role, I feel. He'll get some screen time. He'll get a little bit of match time. But at the end of the day, I really see him being more of a backstage road agent, developmental, just the old timer. I mean, I hate to say it, but just that role.
Well, I feel like going off what you're saying when it comes to AEW, you look at the people that are leading the company and you look at who they're leading forward. I feel like that's what people want, because the one thing about AEW versus WWE, you do have creative input. So a lot of these great vets can drive the direction of this company, give themselves a little bit of shine too, but necessarily it's not about them. You just wonder if somebody likes what AEW is doing and wants to contribute to there. I mean, again, there's some people that's like, hey, maybe I'll be creative on WWE. How far that's going for you, Tyson Kidd? Just saying. But I feel like some of these people that have come to this company, Paul White, Christian, Sting, etc., they want to be part of the development of it more so than the in-ring showcasing of it. I think it's just 50-50.
Time will tell, but what's up, Josh?
Okay, so here we go.
Oh, he's cracking his knuckles. He's serious.
I wrote an article on this topic of it doesn't matter. I wrote an article of it doesn't matter. A return of a ring does not matter unless it is in a WWE ring. A return to any other wrestling promotion does not matter unless it happens within the confines of Vince McMahon's company. And I did a whole litany of all of the former WWE people who have debuted in AEW. They aren't really doing much. Moxley, okay, he was champion. Okay. Jericho, champion. Okay. He's probably the biggest name that they have. Besides Sting now. And they really haven't done much. Like, okay, like you hear about all these dream matches. They happen. And it's like, okay, because they're not as big as they would be within the confines of a WWE ring with WWE marketing, etc., etc. People got pissed at that article. I had multiple people think I was Mr. Tito writing that article.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's how bad it got. Christian, he's a great performer, absolutely. I think Christian even said talks with WWE and him were only cordial. They didn't really go that far. I think WWE should have locked him down to a contract before he even showed up at the Royal Rumble. That was their mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Christian, with him saying the talks were cordial, I think Christian already decided to go to AEW when he was cleared. I honestly, I think that's what it was.
According to what I've read, he's actually talked to Edge about it too, who was very open and supportive of him. In fact, Edge was one of the first people to know Christian was on his way to AEW.
Which I think, from Christian's perspective, I get it, because with the thing is, Christian was around a little bit longer in WWE than Edge was. So Christian had a few more matches against some of these people than Edge did. Mm-hmm. And I think Christian knows Edge's matches with those people are going to be bigger than his would be. Granted, I would have loved to have seen Big E versus Christian for the Intercontinental title, because that was so Christian can get the Intercontinental title back at WrestleMania. I would have loved that. I would have loved to have seen Edge and Christian versus the Usos. I don't think Christian left on bad terms, because WWE is still mentioning Christian on, like, the stars are still mentioning him. Paul Heyman mentioned him on Talking Smack. Like, if there was any bad blood, they wouldn't have said the name. Jericho, when Daniel Bryan and Cesaro were doing that promo on Kevin Owens backstage, they just said, why don't we make a list? They didn't even say Jericho's name. Big Show, he even said him and WWE are on perfectly good terms. Vince completely understood him wanting to leave and wished him luck the day it was announced. And so I don't think it's so much on bad terms. I think in Christian's mind, he knows his time is short because of what his injury was, and he debated which stars he wanted to go face before the others. I think he figured he wanted to face those AEW stars before he came, if he eventually does, which I assume he will, before he goes back to WWE to face some of those stars. I honestly, I think that's what it looks like. The impact long run, I don't think will mean much. Christian, was a great star, but WWE never saw him as more than an upper mid-card, lower main event talent, even though we maybe saw him as a lot more than that. Like, the reaction to him debuting was like, meh? Really? By anyone who wasn't an AEW hardcore fan. Like, I think they made the fact that Big Show made the retribution mistake, saying that someone was coming. Like with WWE, they ruined retribution by announcing it was happening. Big Show, I think, messed up Christian's debut by saying it was happening. And if Christian would just shown up at Revolution, then minds would have been blown even more.
I think everybody,
or Lesnar or Cena, etc. I think he'll have good matches, but I'm personally not as excited to see those matches in AEW as I would have been in WWE. Like, I don't think everyone is excited we're finally going to get to see Big Show versus Shaq, considering WWE screwed the pooch on that multiple times to get that match to happen. Now it's going to be in AEW, and it's not going to be as big. Flat
Well,
out.
also, I think that match you're talking about could be a foregone conclusion. I mean, necessarily, they might not go that direction, and also they might not go that direction immediately. Again, with AEW doing the quarterly pay-per-view model, that is one of their strengths when it comes to their storytelling and the quality of the pay-per-views. In fact, apparently, and this is just what I recently looked up, it was one of the top grossing pay-per-views in non-WWE's wrestling history since the early 90s, apparently. So kudos to AEW. So what they're doing, it is bringing results.
That still means that it grossed less than 2006 WWE ECW December to Dismember.
True, but at least it wasn't as bad. And again, one bad moment, if that's all people take away from this pay-per-view, I feel like people's mindset and open vision to wrestling is pretty shallow. I mean, truth be told, kudos to John Callis, the way he shoot promo basically, oh, we weren't responsible for it, but we're glad it happened too, because it did drive forward the whole Eddie Kingston looking like an idiot. And now they're teasing Eddie Kingston versus Kenny Omega. So it's like they're trying to capitalize on their mistakes.
I think,
but I'm pretty sure that third-party crew that rigged that is never going to get hired again. Because Kenny Omega was
okay, cut.
Sorry.
Colin.
No, you know, I had like 4 different things, and I can't remember a single thing of them now.
Sorry, guys.
Like you see, Colin's wheels like turning, but you guys are going back and forth. I'm like,
this is what happens when you talk wrestling with me and Josh. He had his statement, so hey, I'm just going along with them. But by the way, Josh, kudos on your article.
Thanks, Colin. Oops.
Yeah, Colin, we will shush now.
I literally I don't remember. Because like we were talking about this, and then we moved to this, and then we moved to that, and then we moved to this.
Josh and I
Colin's like, well, he's got a point. Well, he's got a point. Shit.
Yeah, this is gonna be like Josh and Noah's show. JNN.
Sorry.
AEW.
I did not mean for that to happen.
The Sunday Afternoon Wars. It's official.
No.
Tune in next week.
No.
Anyways,
well,
this was a big show.
That's the show.
Pretty much. All right. So, final thoughts, real quick. We'll go around the board. One thing I do remember. I think it'd have been fine if Paul made the announcement but left out the words Hall of Fame worthy.
Agree.
Because that's where a lot of people, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still think that someday Christian does belong in the WWE Hall of Fame. He had a tremendous career. But if he would have left those words out and Christian showed up, it would have not. It would have been bigger than what it was. When you hear the words Hall of Fame worthy, I mean, I hate to say it, but Christian's not the first person to come to mind that's out there right now.
People were thinking Rock, CM Punk, Brock
Lesnar. You have
hosting Wipeout. People were going all crazy on the internet after Big Show said that.
Especially after the reunion of Edge and Christian at Royal Rumble. You weren't really seeing that coming.
No, you weren't. I mean, I did say something about it on Twitter. I did say something about it, like a little bit before it really was Christian, and before I was like, oh, maybe it's Kurt Angle, because he all fucking teased us too with those lacing up the boots and shit. But I think this whole Christian deal would have gone over 1,000 times better if Big Show did not say 4 words: Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah.
And that is my final take for this show. So we'll move to Josh real quick.
A lot of stuff we covered today. Honestly, I see it. People say AEW isn't going to make the same mistakes as Impact or WCW, but I think they already are. Bringing in Christian, etc., Big Show, they're doing a Dixie Carter move of just saying, hey, look at all these former WWE guys. It's not going to work. Because, yes, they're big stars, but they're not as big as stars there than they are when they're in WWE. Flat out. And I think, like the night of Revolution, Bully Ray tweeted a quote from Vince McMahon saying the only thing they remember is the finish. And I think that's what's going to bite AEW in the butt for a while.
All right. Mr. Foster.
This was a great conversation. I hope NXT once again regains its original identity. AEW now just a little bit over a year old. They're still, I feel like, in the Genesis stage, but again, I feel they're trying. I will not discount effort being put forward. We'll have to see long-term how this all plays out, especially with the partnerships now that are growing between Impact and NJPW. I am optimistic what happens among anything outside WWE at this point, even though, again, WWE will always be the biggest player. And those that think that WWE will go out of business because of everything that's happening in AEW, I think you're foolish. At the end of the day, just enjoy life, enjoy wrestling. Josh, I will always debate NXT, and WWE, and AEW for any time in a friendly manner.
All right. And Mr. General. New Norm. Sorry. Norman General. There you go. The normal General.
It doesn't matter. I'm a man of many hats.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
What I really liked about this conversation and about this podcast, the topics I brought up, was the fact that we weren't really bashing the product now, because it's actually more ways that they can improve it. We're actually pretty well satisfied, even without the crowds and everything, of what's going on in said companies, and that's something different. That's something you haven't had in quite a while. So I like the fact that we're just sitting here just talking about ways that things can improve, because for a while there was nothing but bad things to say about these companies, but now they're actually finally finding their footholds. And I think as we reapproach like post-COVID, hopefully, like things were returning somewhat normal. You know, the new normal is pretty awesome. We're getting to that point where, yeah, wrestling is actually becoming good again. And if they actually stay on this route and take some of these, like, you know, suggestions that these fans are making, or just pay more attention to the comment section. Granted, there's those trolls and whatnot, but at the same time, some of them have legit ideas on, like, you know, how to make the product more fan friendly. And the more Vince McMahon kind of lets loose control of the company, it seems like the better the product is actually getting, or at least some more with the times. So one could hope that, I know it's going to come down to a power struggle between Triple H and Shane McMahon, and that's going to be an awesome storyline in itself. And then hopefully somewhere down the line, it'll be their grandkid, like, you know, Vince's grandkids going after a company too, and that'll be great. But I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you guys, and I'm hoping we get to do this again relatively soon. So,
absolutely, absolutely. So I will go around the board one more time. Josh, where can people find you? Let's see your plugs.
So you can follow my channel on Twitter, at Joshamania 2019. That page is co-run by myself and my Joshamania partner Tyler. Myself on Twitter at CatholicJosh122. TJ Tally 25. For him on Twitter, YouTube Joshamania. Same with Facebook. Where we usually just do our predictions videos, sometimes chat like this. So just follow us there. And then once in a while I have columns up at NoDQ, which I'll post those when they come up. My latest column on could Shane McMahon now potentially take over WWE instead of Triple H just went live a little bit ago. So that's for me.
Right on, right on. Mr. Foster, where can the great people find you, my good friend?
Again, folks, it was an absolute pleasure. People, you want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. So follow me on Twitter at Foster1916 or on Instagram at Foster1916 for some positive motivation, hello, and positive wrestling memorabilia in your day. Or find my similar YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/NoFoster210 for all things wrestling live. Shout out to ACW Family on Twitter. There'll be coverage of the New Japan Cup. There'll be continued episodes of my AW Spark series, and also I will be getting together with my ACW family again for the next episode of a new podcast I started called ACW View. We'll be celebrating and looking over women in wrestling, as well as have a WrestleMania panel coming up too. Maybe I'll do something regarding Rebellion as well. And as always, I like to close, folks. There are no winners. There are no losers. There are no betters. There's just fans with their own opinions, their own identities for this passion that we call wrestling. Whether you call it an art, a sport, don't say the F word, or something else in between. As always, I only want to encourage, never discourage. Just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that.
Well said, Mr. Foster. All right, General, where can people find you, my friend?
2 years, and that still does not get fucking old.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Basically, right now, I'm not really doing anything on my YouTube channel. Once I get my hands on that grubby stimulus money, maybe I'll get a microphone, maybe a laptop or something, and start doing something more. But for right now, you just find me on my Facebook group, Armbar, all capital, ARMBAR, exclamation point.
Don't forget it.
And just follow these guys' channels because they're all brilliant in some way, shape, or form. So we'll hopefully be doing this maybe like every Sunday, hopefully, if we're actually off and can coordinate it, because this has been a great time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Good times as always. So if you like this video, make sure to click that like button. That's actually over on this side if you're looking at it.
It's over there?
Wait, I don't know. If I'm looking at me, it's over here.
A little bit. I don't know.
Anyways, it's down here somewhere. So make sure to click that thumbs up button. Looks like this, depending on which way you're looking at it. Not the one like this. You want the one like this. Make sure to click that. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribed. NoDQ.com/Colin takes you to my Twitter page. The Cleaver Colin Andrew on Instagram. Don't follow me on Facebook, and don't follow my other Colin Andrew 26 account on Instagram because I will block you. That is friends and family only. So make sure to always support NoDQ.com. We're the other members of NoDQ. Yeah. Like Jerry said, wash your hands.
Stay the hell away from people.
Be safe. Be smart.
Yes. So we are the others of NoDQ, and we will catch you guys next time. Have a good Sunday, and yeah. See ya.